Today what we're going to look at is we're going to look at finding slopes and tangent lines using derivatives. So let's call this slopes. Using derivatives. Now let's think back to what I said immediately, or starting this unit on derivatives, is that derivative just literally means slope. So if you find the derivative, you found a formula for slope. So derivative is slope, or a formula for slope. Okay? So, if I tell you I want to find the slope of 4x squared when x is 2, all I got to do is take the derivative and plug in 2. That literally is all we're going to do. And then we're going to find some equations of tangent lines using derivative as well. So for example 1, we're going to find the slope of f of x equals x raised to the 4th when x equals -1, 0, and 1. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, my very first step, take the derivative of that. So f of x is x to the 4th. Alright, well f prime of x is going to be 4x cubed. Remember, my exponent comes down and I subtract 1. Now all I have to do is plug in my values. So f prime of -1, we just plug our values of x into my derivative. So f prime of -1 is 4 times -1 cubed. Well, -1 cubed is still -1 times 4 is -4. That's part of my answer. All right, let's do it for 2. So now we're going to do f prime of 0. So I have 4 times 0 cubed this time. Well, 0 cubed is still 0, so that slope is 0. And then f prime of 1. Well, that's still 4 times 1 cubed. Well, 1 cubed is just 1. 1 times 4 is 4. So that slope is 4. So my three answers are -4, 0, and 4. Okay, we're going to find a couple more of those, maybe have a couple challenging problems, and then we're going to move on to tangent lines. So now we're going to find the slope. Find the slope of f of x at 0, -1/2. This is more of an example like what you would see in your book. So I have that f of x is -1/2 plus 7/5 x cubed. Well, let's take my derivative. All right. Well, we have to remember with my derivative, I have to take it in pieces. So let's take the derivative of my first part. Well, the derivative of my first part is f prime of x, -1/2. Derivative of -1/2 is 0. And then plus, well, we're going to bring my 3 down. So it's 7/5 times 3 times x to the 3 minus 1. Okay, so 7/5 times 3 is 21/5 x squared. And again, 0 is just 0. So that is my final f prime. Well, they asked for the derivative at 0, -1/2. So all I'm going to do, I still have to take the derivative. Now I'm just going to plug in 0. So f prime of 0 is 21 over 5 times 0 squared, which is just 0. And that is, again, that is my slope, or in my equation, it is my m. Because remember, slope from Algebra 1 was always m. Okay, one more slope example. Okay, we're going to find the slope. Of, and this time it is f of theta equals 4 sine theta minus theta at 0, 0. Well, you're thinking, oh, that's 0. That's going to be 0 again. Not necessarily. So the first thing we're going to do, well, f of theta, again, I always just kind of like to rewrite it so I can look at it. 4 sine theta minus theta. All right, so let's take the derivative of 4 sine theta. So f prime of theta. Well, 4 sine theta, the derivative of sine is cosine, so that's just 4 cosine theta. Now, let's look at this next part. The derivative of theta. Well, let's treat it like x, and the derivative of theta is 1. Now, because again, remember the derivative, if f of x equals x, the derivative of that is just 1. Okay, so we're going to take 0 and we're going to stick it in. So f prime of 0 equals 4 times the cosine of 0 minus 1. Well, what's the cosine of 0? Cosine of 0 is 1. So 4 times 1 minus 1. 4 times 1 minus 1 is 4. Minus 1 is 3. And that is, again, that is my slope. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to find the equation of a tangent line. All right, we're going to write down some steps real quick first. So to find the equation of a tangent line, first thing, and you will always be given a point. So first thing you do, first step, find the derivative. Second step, plug in x to your derivative to find your slope. Three, we're going to plug it into point slope form. And again, this is something that I taught y'all at the we went back over at the very beginning of the year. Is y equals m times x minus x1 all plus y1. Okay? So, example 1. I want the tangent line of f of x equals x squared when, or going through -2, 4. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, what's my first step? Find the derivative. So take the derivative. So f prime of x is just, bring my x down, that is 2x. Next step, plug in my x value. Well, what's my x value? -2. So f prime of -2 is 2 times -2. which was that? Well, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. All right, this has found, as I said earlier, this has found my slope. Well, in my equation up here, my point slope form equation, y equals m times x minus x1 plus y1, I've just found my m. That is my m. So literally in this equation, I'm going to put m equals negative 4. So y equals negative 4 for m, x. Then I'm going to minus x1, so negative 2. And then on the very end, I'm going to add my y1, which is 4. And again, that point is just coming from the given point they gave you. So let's do some algebra and combine some like terms. So negative 4 times x plus 2 plus 4. Distribute my negative 4. So negative 4x minus 8 plus 4 gives me negative 4x minus 4. That is my equation of line. Okay, so it is a little bit lengthier than problems you're used to, but again, just remember your 3 steps. Find your derivative, plug in x to find your slope, and then plug it into the point slope form of a line. Okay, last example. Find the equation of a tangent line. Now let's do this one. All right, f of x. Again, we are still finding the equation of a tangent line is x squared plus 2x times x plus 1. That goes through or at 1, 6. Well, the problem we have here is I've got 2 things multiplied together. I haven't taught you how to take the derivative of that yet. But can I do some algebra maybe to where I could get that to where I can work with it? Well, yeah, they're 2 binomials, so I can FOIL them together. Okay, so x squared times x is x cubed. 2x times x is 2x squared. Okay, x squared times 1 is x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. That is my new f of x I'm going to deal with. Combine my like terms here in the middle. And by the way, just a hint, this one might show up on your homework. 2x squared plus x squared is 3x squared plus 2x. All right, now that I've done my algebra, what's my first step? Take the derivative. So f prime of x is bring my exponent down. 3x, take away 1 from my exponent, squared, plus bring my exponent down. So 3 times 2 is 6. Take away 1 from my exponent, x, plus, well, the derivative of 2x is just 2. Okay, so now all I have to do, all right, I've done my first part. I have my derivative. Now what's my next step? Plug in x. So what's my x value? My x value is 1. So f prime of 1 is 3 times 1 squared plus 6 times 1 plus 2. Well, 3 times 1 squared is just 3. 6 times 1 is just 6. Plus 2, well, that's 11. All right, so my slope, my f prime at 1 is 11. Or again, this is my slope. Slope or my m. Okay, so now we're going to go back and plug that into your Algebra 1 equation. Y equals m times x minus x1 plus y1. Plug in m is 11, so y equals 11 times x, well, minus x1, so minus 1, close parentheses, plus my y1, which is 6. Now all I got to do is distribute and combine like terms. This is stuff you've been doing since algebra. So distribute my 11. That gives me y equals 11x minus 11 and plus 6. Well, negative 11 plus 6, 11x, negative 5 equals y. That's all for today.